Welcome to an adventure into the unexplored, a tale hidden beneath before Adam and Eve. The ancient records and modern rumors hide secrets behind the surface of the creation. Yet suppose chaos and heavenly rebellion formed our initial world. The unknown past lingers in hiding. Can you picture this puzzle? Become intrigued now. Revealing a hidden past. Imagine a world before light, where disorder was not simply an empty space but a canvas of unwritten potentiality, a preface to divine work. In the soft whisper of old scripture before Adam and Eve roamed the garden, secrets were too vast for ordinary heads. The narrative begins with opposition. The opening lines of the Bible paint a vision of harmony, then immediately plunge us into darkness and barren lands. And even though the majority interpret this as a metaphorical poem, what if it were actually a description of a cosmic aftermath, a shattered world that once crawled and swarmed with life and rebellion? We have a setup that reveals creation's lovely promise. In the beginning, God created. And then we have the surprise. The earth was formless and void. But this is not poetic license. It is an invitation to uncover a hidden truth. Ancient writings suggest that this desolation is not the absence of creation at all, but rather the remnants of a once thriving existence devastated by cataclysmic events. The Hebrew biblical word tohu wabohu suggests ruins, disorder, and a world marred by a previous age, a pre-existence period characterized by divine turmoil. Imagine a canvas ripped apart, its shreds scattered, but each one whispering stories of ancient glory and collapse. Historical records by the Sumerians, Babylonians, and Egyptians resonate these motifs. They also speak of an age when initial chaos was not a blank sheet, but a divine strife field. In the creation myth of the Babylonians, churning water and fighting gods create the arena where order will emerge from chaos. What if the Genesis disorder is not the start, but a reboot, a rebuke from a war of the cosmos that forever transformed the universe itself? Now think about this scenario. This period of disorder, instead of being arbitrary at all, was perhaps the backdrop for a divine uprising, a conflict so savage that it branded the very fabric of creation. Theologians have long speculated regarding the so-called gap theory, which suggests that there was a catastrophic event between the perfect creation and the biblical account we are familiar with. What if an angelic host, led by none other than Lucifer, fought against heavenly order? Imagine heavenly creatures, radiant and powerful, descending to fight, a fight in which beauty met its foe, pride fought perfection, and the very cosmos trembled at the hand of divine fury. Whereas orthodox doctrine focuses on the classic story of Eden, other books like the Book of Enoch reveal secret histories of angelic rebellions and forbidden knowledge. They talk of a world where great powers not only resided in heaven, but walked the earth, leaving shadows of their conflict wherever there existed mountains, rivers, and fossilized footprints. Are these ancient chronicles the piecemeal clues of a cosmic restart? The remnants of Titan conflicts and scars of divine wrath could be hidden in plain sight, written into the geological history and mythologies across cultures. Unwrapping these layers, it is seen that the formless void and the deep darkness are not just symbolic representations of chaos, but are also the witnesses of an ancient past, a time when divisions between the divine and the mortal were hazy, and each flash of cosmic conflict was recorded in the annals of time. This is the bitter irony at the heart of our question. The very text that rejoices in the first light of creation begins to intimate a prelude to chaos, a moment when perfection was marred by rebellion and the earth itself was blemished by memory of some ancient conflict. Thus, at the threshold of understanding these cloistered secrets, one cannot help but wonder, what exactly did take place during that seminal time? What secrets hid beneath the veil of our assigned creation mythoi? Such inquiries call us more deeply into the enigma, a dilemma which goes against our very notions of time, chronology, and God's will. Secrets of cosmic war. Picture the following: an ancient world in which the boundaries between heaven and earth are blurred, where heavenly beings were not passive observers, but active players in a colossal war that reshaped existence. As we further lift the veil on the mystery of the pre-creation chaos, we discover a story of rebellion that is nothing less than appalling and astonishing. The implication that a war of God occurred eons earlier than the emergence of man makes us question the very foundations of creation itself. What if, behind the metaphorical language of Genesis, there was a titanic struggle, a war of angels that bruised the earth itself? Historians and theologians have wondered about the reason for this heavenly war for centuries. Others speculate that before the Garden of Eden was the stage for man's debut, a perfect creation was marred by the rebellion of pride. Imagine a heavenly hierarchy so finely tuned that the least deviation would set off catastrophic consequences. Within this order, the figure of Lucifer does not come across merely as a symbol of evil, but a tragic hero whose ambition instigated the very first uprising. Once admired for his intelligence and beauty, Lucifer's removal from heaven was not a one-man act. It was the impetus for a chain of heavenly revolt. The Book of Enoch and other ancient scriptures offer fascinating hints of this war in heaven. They tell of a time when angels were more than messengers. They were warriors, guardians, and, in some instances, revolutionaries. These texts tell us that a group of entities known as the Watchers descended to the earth, drawn by illicit knowledge and a desire for power. They sinned not only against the divine order, but also as a cause of disorder. When these heavenly beings departed from their appointed positions and mixed with the mortal world, they dissolved the boundary between the sacred and the profane, and stirred up a revolt that resonated even in the remotest corners of the universe. This heavenly upheaval was not confined to the heavenly orbs. The very fabric of creation felt its impact. The geological record, myth, and even modern interpretations of paleontological data suggest the Earth is wounded by a calamity from the dawn of time. Massive creatures roamed the planet, their existence echoing an era when the rules of the natural world were significantly different, when chaos ruled and order was yet to be established. The enormous fossilized forms and layered rock strata can be the silent witnesses to that ancient cosmic rebellion. At the height of the revolt, the divine response was both swift and merciless. In a move that resonated throughout eternity, the divine order intervened to address the imbalance. The action was not so much a vengeful act, but a very elemental recreation. "Let there be light," boomed the voice, not simply to introduce light into a dark void, but to announce the restoration of order from chaos. In this act, we see the unmistakable hand of a creator who decided to salvage a marred masterpiece. Though order was re-established, vestiges of the revolt lingered on. Scars of that original conflict became integrated into the very fabric of our existence itself. They are enduring witnesses to a time when gods fought and the cosmos was reshaped by the forces of pride and ambition. This is the record that resists conventional accounts of creation. It is a story where celestial strife is not abstract myth, but a tangible force that has marked every age since. So, as we stand on the threshold of this revelation, the questions multiply. In what way did such a revolt redirect the path of creation? What secrets still remain hidden in the echoes of that celestial war? And most of all, how do these ancient events still affect our world today? The linguistic clues and cryptic hints in sacred texts. Suppose for a second that every word in these sacred texts is more than mere storytelling. It's a cipher brimming with hidden meaning and ancient wisdom. The language of creation is fluid. It's a living account of things that echo through time. When the Bible says that the earth is formless and void, it's not merely speaking of emptiness. Instead, it describes a world that had been teeming with life and possibility, strong and vital, and then torn asunder by divine upheaval. It is not a poetic flourish, but a calculated use of words to describe secrets of planetary scale. The Hebrew phrase "tu wab bohu" is a fine example. It's simplistic enough at first read that many take it to be a mere indication of vacancy, but stretch it a bit and it talks of decay, ruin, and the repercussions of something far more grand. It's not by chance. Those ancient writers had a purpose with their words, leaving sufficient room for debate and exploration. Scholars note that the shape of these texts is itself designed to prompt us, to provoke us to question what lies behind our inherited tale. In a fascinating departure from pattern, we discover that such identical linguistic patterns emerge in texts from all sorts of cultures. For instance, the Babylonian epic Enuma Elish describes a primordial watery chaos prior to creation, a chaos not out of nothing but out of conflict and strife. Here, the language is employed as a bridge between various civilizations. While the Bible tells one story, the ancient Mesopotamian literature offers another, which suggests that the narrative of a disorderly prelude is a shared cultural memory. This cross-cultural resemblance lends greater credence to the theory that these narratives are not myths, but an encoded history of an ancient cosmic occurrence. Going to the details, every single one of these descriptive adjectives encourages us to reconfigure the character of creation. The use of deep in Genesis, for example, is not just a physical description of darkness. It is also inferring the deep, almost impenetrable reaches of cosmic memory and original history. This darkness is not so much about the absence of light. It's about the reverberation of a war of yore, the memory of holy strife that redefined the essence of existence once and for all. Imagine the shadows we see as the reverberations of a titanic struggle, where divine entities waged great battles that were as much wars over supremacy as they were concerning the protection or reclaiming of perfection. And then there's the interesting tension between the two words became and was. A subtle difference in grammar, but its meanings are colossal. The words have a connotation of change, of decline from order to randomness. This isn't the work of a universe created in a single smooth sweep of design. This is the work of a cosmos that rebooted with great violence and upheaval. Every term is weighed down with theological and historical meaning, urging us to look back into the past and decipher what may have occurred prior to the origin of man. One, the narrative roars with hope of heavenly provenance. The other, it stumbles forward over a description of vacuity. These are not frailties, but a conscious break of forms meant to surprise our impressions. They create visual and mental breaks, a check that what we are reading is multi-layered complexity, challenging us to look through surface interpretations. And so, as we unravel these secrets of language, we glimpse the shadow of an unknown saga, a one in which language, like the universe it describes, is enmeshed with history, conflict, and discovery. The cryptic hints in every stanza encourage us to decipher an enigma that has spanned millennia, reversing our understanding of creation, destruction, and rebirth. What else might be concealed within these ancient words, waiting to be decoded? The hidden clues in geological records and ancient myths. Imagine discovering secrets not only on the pages of ancient texts, but from the strata of our Earth itself. The history of pre-creation isn't limited to texts. It's inscribed in the rock layers, spoken by fossils, and heard in mythologies on different continents. History and geology come together here in a tapestry that contradicts popular wisdom, regarding the origins of our world. The gap theory, proposing a period of catastrophes before the familiar Genesis account, is interestingly corroborated by the geological record. Consider the fossil record. Massive beasts on a planet that is too large, too old, to be confined to a moment of creation. Dinosaurs, mammoths and sea monsters, those remains dispersed in sedimentary layers, tell of times when Earth was a changing, dynamic landscape of life and turmoil. Could these ruins be the leftovers of a civilization that predated the divine restart? It's a fascinating theory, one that makes us align science with ancient myth. Around the world, myths abound of giant floods, apocalyptic fires, and massive wars. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes a great flood that recreated the world, and Native American legend speaks of earth-stirring events that reshaped landscapes wholesale. These legends are not fantasies. They may be a shared memory of an ancient world pre-Adamic, one that was very different from what we assume. When civilizations on the planet repeat the same motifs, it is evidence of a shared experience, a moment in history when the Earth underwent a fundamental transformation, perhaps because of cosmic war. Consider, too, the astronomical anomalies recorded in ancient texts. Celestial events, once thought to be omens or acts of God, might be leftovers of that pre-creation chaos. Comets, shooting stars, and unexplained celestial configurations are found in ancient descriptions. These events might be seen as outward manifestations of the inward turmoil, a transforming universe in which the heavens and the earth were dancing a tenuous waltz of creation and annihilation. Recent scientific hypotheses, such as the hypothesis of many universes or cyclical cosmology, place a fascinating gloss on these observations from ancient days, speculating that randomness that we define now may have been a flawlessly planned drama of celestial proportions. This intermingling of science and myth here is not coincidence. It's clever storytelling technique transcending ages. Ancient philosophers, mystics and seers perceived natural events and, lacking modern technology, explained them as divine interference. Their myths, though disguised in allegory, actually may encode higher knowledge of cosmic cycles, creation epochs followed by resounding resets. The geologic record, with its cycles of erosion and sedimentation and tectonic revolutions, mirrors these themes. Rock layers accumulate through millennia, each with a story of environmental upheaval and change. When we read these geologic accounts along with myth and sacred texts, we derive a rich textured history of a world infinitely more complicated and tumultuous than is explained by one creation event. This collision of geologic chronicle, mythic account, and ancient text challenges us to rethink what we now think about the start of the Earth. The clues in the very existence of our own world can deceive a pre-Adamic era marked by cosmic conflict and regeneration, a period when powers divine fought, a heritage which nascent modern science is only beginning to unwind. As we delve further, the lines between reality and myth get blurred, asking us to think that our planet's past is not a straightforward linear narrative, but an epic saga full of mystery, conflict, and in the end, redemption. The celestial messengers. And so, as we move deeper into the mystery of the world pre-creation, we look at those who among the heavenly beings took active parts in the unfolding drama. Imagine a system in which angels were not merely couriers but veterans in war as well, artisans of structure and, at certain points even, provokers of mayhem. It is this kind of world in which intervention on a divine plane merged with mutiny, and the battlefront lines had already been set years prior to humankind's inception. The tale of divine messengers is woven throughout ancient scripture and apocryphal texts. The Watchers, named so in texts like the Book of Enoch, are drawn to earth by an insatiable craving for knowledge and a desire for forbidden knowledge. These creatures, formed originally as the protectors of divine order, are drawn very quickly into a rebellion that disturbs the heavenly ranks. Their actions are not symbolic. They have real, catastrophic consequences that echo through the creation. The rebellion of these heavenly beings is a disruption to the perfect scheme of the universe, a suggestion that even within the realm of the gods, seeds of war were sown. History and myth from various cultures all resonate with this notion of heaven on fire. In Mesopotamian myth, gods clash with one another in great battles as heavenly forces struggle to maintain order against expanding chaos. Similarly, in Greek myth, the Olympians battle with the Titans, a conflict that eventually reconfigures the balance of power in the cosmos. While these stories are of different cultural and temporal backgrounds, they all revolve around one theme: the presence of a conflict in the universe where mighty powers collide, and from that interaction create legacies that shape the very fabric of existence. In the Bible, figures like Lucifer are at the center of this grand tale. When the ideal of heavenly beauty, Lucifer's pride and downfall are shown to be the watershed, which not only disturbs the heavenly order, but also casts a long and dark shadow over the earth itself. His downfall is not just a tale of pride, it represents the far-reaching consequences that follow when divine protagonists choose to disobey their destined roles. As he is banished, an army of angels follows his rebellion and becomes the demonic legions that, in myth, continue to mold the world of mortals. This shift from heavenly glory to hellish fall is a break in pattern, a dramatic, bold shift that captivates our imagination and challenges our concept of divine power. Outside of traditional mythology, we have interesting parallels in current interpretation and scientific conjecture. Others compare the wars to today's understanding of quantum fluctuations and chaotic systems. Since subatomic particles are in states of uncertainty, these celestial beings operated in a state where order and chaos were not differentiated. Their behavior might have primed the laws of physics that rule our universe, leaving behind a cosmic plan that still influences everything from galaxy motion to life's evolution on our planet. In addition, the tension between light and darkness, a pervasive motif in Holy Scripture, takes on new meaning when understood in the context of this divine conflict. "Let there be light" is not merely a command to dispel material darkness, but an invitation to recreate order after the disorder of rebellion. Light emerging from darkness symbolizes the recreation of balance, God's restart of the divine order destroyed by apocalyptic rebellion. Effectively, the history of these celestial messengers is a testament to the complexity of creation itself. It's a reminder that even the divine are not exempt from the forces of ambition, rebellion, and power struggles. Their story, full of allegory and veiled truths, urges us to reconsider the simplistic version of creation. Instead, it challenges us to imagine a cosmos created by never-ending transformation, a tapestry of alliances and wars wherein every rebellion has the potential to redefine the destiny of worlds. It is what is left to be seen how the legacy of these fallen and triumphant beings continues to exert itself in our world today. Is their influence the unseen hand that could guide the mysteries of human existence? The answers are in the next level of our journey, where the mysteries of divine intervention and human destiny intersect. The mystical legacy. Imagine it's a time when Earth was not just filled with heavenly battles and divine beings, but also teeming with beasts of gigantic proportions and mystery, beasts outside the normal account of man's creation. That is the time of pre-Adamic life, a time when vegetation and animals lived in a state that was almost otherworldly to our modern world. The fossil record of those ancient giants entombed in the layers of our planet is a mute testimony to an era when creation was not a one-time event, but an intricate, unrolling saga, punctuated by cosmogonic catastrophes. The idea that life preceded mankind has been throughout the ages a subject of intrigue and controversy. Paleontologists discover in sedimentary rocks and fossil records of a thick biodiversity many years before human civilization could appear. There were gigantic reptiles and mammalian giants that roamed a world whose climate was as turbulent as the cosmic battles in biblical accounts. Their existence challenges the neat, linear chronology so typical of ancient creation myths, and instead implies a stratified history where different ages of life and death overlap. Ancient histories and mythologies from all over the globe imply this lost time. Myths speak of giant beasts whose footprints rattled the earth and whose bellows thundered through canyons carved by ancient cataclysms. As diverse as the Mesopotamians, Native Americans, and even ancient Greeks are the legends of fearsome monsters that roamed the earth during a time of myth and magic. While others write off these stories as simple allegory, the similarity of such stories from so many different civilizations encourages us to think that they may actually be remembrance of some original reality, a reality where Earth was a battlefield, not just for divine powers, but also for the brute power of life itself. The interplay of science and scripture in such cases is fascinating and multifaceted. On the one hand, the fossil record discloses a history that indicates the Earth has been around for millions of years, and that its existence has been punctuated by brief moments of cataclysmic change and extinction. On the other, Scripture teaches that creation was a purposeful, godly event in which order resulted from chaos. The syncretism of these visions is found in theories that espouse a pre-Adamic age, a time when the Earth was already a functioning, living planet, capable of both miraculous creation and disastrous destruction. This pre-human universe, as it seems, was shaped by the same cosmic powers that would afterwards create the biblical universe, and they left a legacy that was at once scientific and spiritual in character. In addition, environmental conditions during that bygone era could have been utterly dissimilar from the present. Picture a world with unstable climates, moving continents, and ecosystems that are incomprehensible to us today. On such a world, life would have evolved in fantastic manners, acquiring characteristics and traits that helped these organisms survive through turmoil. The very bones and footprints contained within stone itself might be harboring secrets of survival, adaptation, and evolution, a testament to the resilience of life even after godly disturbance. But even beyond physical traces, the existence of these pre-Adamic creatures leaves an indelible mark. They are woven into the cultural psyche, influencing art, literature, and even modern science. Their existence is a metaphor for renewal, a reminder that destruction frequently gives rise to rebirth. As the divine mandate, "Let there be light," brought about the rebuilding of an unstructured universe, so too did the downfall of these primordial creatures create the opportunity for new modes of life to break forth, previewing the appearance of mankind. Thus, the heritage of pre-Adamic life is not simply a scientific footnote. It is a metaphor for the infinite loops of creation and recreation that characterize our universe. Putting together the fragments of evidence from fossil records, ancient mythologies, and scriptures, we form a picture of a world more intricate and complex than we had ever thought of. This missing phase of pre-Adamic life forces us to redefine our origin and our place in a cosmic hierarchy. Could the history of life on Earth not be one of linear progress from nothing to completeness, but of a series of restarts, where supernatural interventions and evolutionary processes dance around in an endless, changing waltz? The mysteries of pre-Adamic life challenge us to look beyond the surface of our traditional histories and to find a past as enigmatic as it is magnificent. In doing so, we not only enrich our understanding of the past, but also open our minds to the boundless possibilities of creation itself. The unseen influences. Imagine a modern age where the heritage of starry wars and cataclysms of old is not confined to the yellowed pages of the past, but lives on in the texture of our own lives. As we excavate strata of time, we discover that the forces at work in the pre-Adamic world still shape our world in overt and subtle manners. From unexplained natural phenomena to the tides of human nature, the remnants of that war so long ago seem to have become a part of the very fabric of our daily lives. Consider the environmental and geological patterns that define our world today. Most scientists note that the composition of Earth is not static. It is an ever-changing system, constantly being molded by forces far beyond the control of humanity. Volcanic eruptions, tectonic activity, and even the weather itself may be manifestations of an eternal struggle between order and disorder, a cosmic balance once violently upset. The same force that once fueled divine war now manifests itself in the whimsical humors of nature. Every tremor, every sudden storm, implies the residual energy of a day when the earth was a battlefield between heavenly powers. In human awareness, though, these ancient powers become all the more intriguing. Some modern scholars and mystics hold that the psychological and spiritual discontent we see today might be related to the energies left unresolved during that earliest era. The feeling of inner strife which so many of us find ourselves in, apartness, existential dread, or odd fascination with the mysterious, could be the residual echo of a cosmic reboot that still torments our souls. It's as though the eternal struggle between divine order and chaos left an indelible mark on the collective psyche of humanity, a legacy which continues to shape our imagination and our actions. Myths and legends from the more distant past of different cultures offer powerful parallels to this modern echo. Stories of global floods, celestial omens, and supernatural dealings are found virtually everywhere throughout the world. These old tales, passed down through the centuries, are maybe not so much fables, but distorted memories of an age when creation and destruction were locked in bitter competition. The idea that such myths find roots in actual cosmic events provokes us to see our world as being within a continuum, a living history where past, present, and future are inextricably bound together by forces greater than our full understanding. Modern science, particularly in the fields of quantum physics and chaos theory, gives an intriguing turn to this argument. These ideas of the multiverse and interplay between determinate chaos and randomness have parallels in descriptions of a changing cosmos that were articulated by the ancients. The idea of our universe being one component of a larger, more complex system wherein many realities exist side by side is a parallel to the ancient view of cycles of creation and destruction. This meeting of science and ancient lore inspires us to re-examine the borders of myth and modernity, leading us to hypothesize that lessons of the ancient world could be embedded in the very laws of the universe itself. Further, the effects of these primordial energies do not stop at nature or theoretical physics. They seep into culture and art as well. Music, literature, and visual arts across the centuries have drawn upon the epic themes of cosmic war and celestial rebirth. The persistent interest in motifs like chaos, rebellion, and rebirth in artworks attests to an enduring human interest in understanding and integrating these primitive forces into our collective identity. Perhaps our fascination with the universe's secrets is actually an unconscious effort to reconcile with the secret history of creation, a history that predates even the most holy religious texts. In general, the unseen forces of that primeval cosmic war still permeate our modern world. They shape the environment, the human psyche, and even the way we perceive reality itself. The traces of primal chaos are not artifacts of a distant past. They are potent living energies that invite us to probe the interrelatedness of everything. As we press on into the future, we need to pose the question, how do these ancient energies affect our lives in the present? And how may they continue to shape the future narrative of human beings? The Cosmic Reckoning. Let us consider a moment when the ancient cosmic drama reaches its peak, a moment in which the balance between divine order and chaos is renegotiated, and the fate of all that has been torn asunder hangs in the balance. In the penultimate chapter of our sojourn, then, we must address the final question. What is the fate of the rebellious, the fallen, and the wounds of a now titanic struggle? The narrative to this point has taken us through chaotic pre-creation, divine rebellion, and the echoes of a long-forgotten conflict. And yet now we are drawn to ask, in the midst of such profound upheaval, is there a promise of restoration? The ancient texts offer us visions of a cosmic reckoning, a final act in the divine drama, wherein even the most errant forces are not bound for eternal damnation. Instead, there is a lush tapestry of redemption, a sacred plan to restore order even in the wake of the most cataclysmic disruptions. Consider the picture of light piercing the blackest black. When God spoke and said, "Let there be light," it was not merely an act of creation, but an act of insistence, a refusal to allow chaos to claim what belonged to Him. This light is a symbol of order reasserting itself, a new dawn that rises from the ashes of an old conflict. Historical and biblical records converge on this juncture of cosmic rejuvenation. In all mythologies, the process of destruction is always succeeded by rebirth, a process seen not only in nature, but also in the never-ending struggle between good and evil. We have the establishment of a heavenly order, the stark contrast of rebellious chaos, and now the prospect of redemption with repercussions. The fallen angels, the scarred earth, and the memories of celestial warfare all set up a restoration that is as dramatic as it is inevitable. Here, the fate of the rebellious forces takes on a complex character. Figures like Lucifer, once exalted and then cast down, become figures not just of rebellion, but of the redemptive potential of transformation. Their narrative compels us to witness that even in the darkest decline, there is a potential for an order reconstructed, a hope for the shattered remnants of creation to be restored into something yet more wonderful than before. The old prophetic scriptures and even modern interpretations of quantum physics tell us that every ending is a precursor to a new beginning, and that the cosmic cycle of death and rebirth is continuously unfolding. Tracking these ideas through layers of myth, scripture, and science, we discover a compelling picture emerging, one where the universe is not static, but a fluid field of infinite evolution. The same disorder that had threatened to annihilate creation now acts as a goad to evolution, forcing a reinvention of form and order. It is as if the universe is itself alive, capable of healing its own deepest wounds through cycles of collapse and regeneration. This heavenly healing, mirrored both in the divine fiat of creation and in the natural laws of evolution, is a powerful metaphor for individual and collective transformation. As we consider this cosmic tallying, we are invited to review our own roles in a universe ever in motion. What remnants of primal chaos do we carry within ourselves? And how might the promise of redemption, as witnessed in the celestial narrative, inspire us to overcome our own struggles? The interplay between the fallen and the redeemed is not merely a theological concept. It is a universal truth that resonates across all aspects of existence. It reminds us that out of the deepest darkness, a light can emerge, guiding us toward a future where restoration and hope prevail. Embracing the eternal mystery and our place in the cosmos. And so we arrive at the culmination of our Odyssey, a moment that forces us to reconcile the mysteries of an ancient past with the living reality of our day. In this last chapter, the tale comes full circle. We have witnessed divine rebellion, heavenly wars, and the establishment of a cosmic restart. And now, in front of us, is the final truth. The history of creation is not confined to ancient texts or fossilized pieces, but still in the process of unfolding within and around us. In embracing this final truth, we understand that the universe is an ever-changing tapestry, a living book of continuous repetitions of destruction and renewal. The echoes of pre-Adamic sin and divine conflict reverberate through all natural occurrences, all revolutions of the human heart, and all glimmerings of hope that burst from the depths of despair. When God uttered a word and said, "Let there be light," it was no mere command to drive away the night. It was a declaration of the unconquerable power of creation, a promise that even in the depths of deepest strife, renovation is assured. This journey has tested the boundaries of myth and science, challenging us to look beyond the face of traditional stories, the grand ballet of angels and demons, the enigmatic hints in sacred languages, and the daunting evidence written into the Earth's geologic record, all point to a universe of mystery and richness of meaning. We have come to understand that our world now is not an independent page in an immaculately ordered history, but a living section of an older epic, a one where every star, every fossil, and every human heartbeat serves as proof for a story in the universe beyond time itself. The impact of this new vision is no less deep as it is personal. It pushes us to embrace the unknown, to challenge our assumptions, and to find meaning in the dance of order and disorder. Our personal struggles, therefore, are but reflections of the grand cosmic struggles of yesteryears. Every failure is a chance to find the light, just as the universe itself is always trying to rebalance. Our challenges are not arbitrary instances of ill fate. They are echoes of an eternal cycle of decay and rebirth that force us to convert our hardships into chances of expansion. Moreover, this revelation encourages us to see ourselves as actors, and not victims, in a universal drama. The wars of the ancient heavenly beings, the remnants of pre-Adamic life, and the creative energies that mold our world are not survivals from bygone ages. They are the very essence that permeates the universe and us. Every choice, every moment of reflection is part of a grand cosmic story unfolding across the heavens and the earth. Finally, the journey into the hidden secrets before Adam and Eve is more than the foray into lost history. It is an invitation to continued search, questioning and awe at the boundless mysteries that envelop us. It compels us to redefine our place in the universe and recognize that, like the universe, our potential for rebirth and renewal is limitless. Before we conclude, I urge you to continue down this road of discovery. In our subsequent video, The Serpent of Genesis Was Not a Serpent, we will dig even deeper into the enigmatic symbols of creation, rebellion, and uncover hidden truths that test our most basic beliefs. Join me now as we walk into the secret of one of the most cryptic figures of holy history, and be prepared to see the ancient stories done in a complete new manner.